Hello, my name is Dan Hazlett. I'm the Student Government Association Advisor here at Stanley Community College. Welcome to Stanley SOAR. SOAR stands for Student Organization and Activities Recognition. This show is dedicated to highlighting the many different student organizations that are active on the campus of Stanley Community College. Each show will feature a unique organization and the positive work they do in the lives of our students, our campus, and our community. One of my responsibilities at Stanley Community College is to advise our business student organization, Phi Beta Lambda, the college level of Future Business Leaders of America. And we're celebrating National FBLA PBL Month. The chapter has done several activities already. The county commissioners and city council signed proclamations for National FBLA PBL Month. And we're also saluting one of our former chapter presidents and one of our current North Carolina Professional Division members, Alumni Association members, who just received a very special award here at Stanley Community College. And so today I'm going to be interviewing Monica Chang and hear a little about her story coming to North Carolina, coming to Stanley Community College, joining PBL, being involved in things here at the college, and then going on to the beginnings of a successful career. So let me introduce Monica Chang. Monica, tell us just a little bit about your coming to Stanley Community College. The award you received was named for Dallas Herring, and Dallas Herring is considered the founder of the North Carolina Community College system back in the late 60s. He was on the State Board of Education and encouraged the birth of the community college system. There's an award named for him, and that's the award that you have won this year from our college as our college nominee for the State Dallas Herring Award. And the award is for a student whose time at a community college made a tremendous difference in his or her life, personally, professionally, and upon graduation went on to begin a successful career. It's to be somebody who's been graduated from the college within the last 2 years. And so we're very excited and pleased that our recipient this year for Stanley Community College is a former PBL president. And so we just thought it'd be the perfect way to tie that, our salute to National FBLA PBL Month, the role of our professional division at the state level, and your award all into one introduction to the community and salute to you. So with a little bit of that background, go back to the very beginning, because I think it's such an interesting story, even with how your family got here to the United States.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for this award, because it wouldn't have been possible without Stanley Community College, and of course, Dan Hazlett, my advisor, is still my advisor today as well. So to start off in the beginning, my grandparents brought my mom here to the United States. I don't know originally where they first stopped at first, but eventually they ended up in Sacramento and Fresno. And when my mom got remarried, she moved down here when my mom got remarried, she moved here to North Carolina, and basically that's where I grew up. You know, this is home for me, and I got into the early college program and then Stanley Community College classes, and that's how I ended up in the PBL class.
Okay, like I say, such an interesting background
Yes.
story. Your family, you have brothers and sisters, right?
Yes, I have an older sister and 2 younger brothers and some step and half siblings like everywhere. Yeah, so it's a big family, but the ones who I live currently with are my younger brothers.
Okay, very good. I remember you were often cooking for them.
Yes, I'm the oldest now, so I'm often cooking and taking care of them. Trying to balance between life and work and school, so.
Well, that's the story of most of our students, trying to balance all of those things
Yes.
together. Why did you decide to come into the early college program?
So when I first heard of the early college program, my sister was an early college student, and so I guess I wanted to follow in her footsteps. Plus, the early college program was such a great opportunity for immigrants like me to get education, like free education. You could get community college classes for free, and to me that just really sparked an idea of like saving money, because my mom was a high school graduate, and that was that. Like she didn't go further into her education because it just wasn't taught in her generation that you need to go to education, or you need to go to school for education. She got married when she was like 13 or 14, and so she didn't really have that mindset of going to school for education to better your career. And so when I heard about the early college, my mom she's a single mom, so she has always taught me to go after my education, like no matter what. She's always drilled that into her heads. And so when I was in 8th grade, I heard about the early college program and how great it was. You can get your high school diploma and also an associate's of your choice by the time you graduate. And so that was the sole reason why I wanted to go into the early college program. And I'm very grateful to have, been entered to go, and
To have that opportunity.
Yeah, to have that opportunity.
Well, now I did not know you when you were in the early years of the early college program. It was a little bit later when you started taking the college level courses and joined PBL that I really got to know you. But I understand you were kind of a timid person back then when you first came.
Yes, I was very, very, very shy. Like I couldn't be, if you spoke to me maybe in high school, like the early years of high school, I probably wouldn't like even look at you in the eye. Like I was just so scared of people, and I didn't know how to carry a conversation with people. And even my classmates, I was scared to speak out. And I remember in class, we were playing bingo or whatever, and I couldn't even speak out to say that I won. I couldn't scream out bingo. So that's how shy I was at first. And just really, getting into the club and being introduced to, leadership and communication and the network, has really just brought out a personality of mine that I've always wanted to show, but I couldn't show before. So.
Well, I hear that often from Phi Beta Lambda students, that one of the things that has taught them is to be able to speak in a group or speak in public, do presentations. But I've just heard several people say, I just can't believe Monica now. A person who used to wouldn't say a word, now we can't get her to be quiet.
Yes.
But I think that translates not just into talking, that translates into taking advantage of opportunities.
Oh, yes. I think I've gained a lot of more, I think I gained more confidence too in like speaking in public, speaking to random strangers. Because at first I would never approach anyone and be like, hi, how are you? I would never done that. But when I got into PBL, Phi Beta Lambda, because I was president too, I was, I'm supposed to carry on this role and responsibility that, I need to be the representative of my club, my members, my PBL members, and also be the representative to my chapter whenever we go on conferences or whatnot. So,
and we're going to come back to those and some good times there. Let's go back to classes though. What was your favorite class?
My favorite class was in high school or in like community college? Well, you can do
one of each if you want.
Okay. I think the class that stood out to me the most was definitely my English high school class with Ms. Ross. Yes, Janet Ross. She was one of the best, really. Like I think I learned a lot how to write papers. Not only that, but I think at a time when I was going through a hard time in the early college program, and I didn't feel worthy of being an early college student because there were so many other peers of mine that were super smart, and I didn't feel smart because I learned that my GPA was like 2 point something, and that really just brought me down. Like I wanted to quit, I wanted to like drop out of the early college and etc. And I was just in, she was just going on her rant. One of those like in her class, she just usually goes on these rant about why we weren't doing our homework and everything, and she just really spoke to me. During that speech, you're here for a reason, and don't take advantage of this opportunity. And when she said that, she was speaking to in front of the class, but to me, she really spoke to me at that point, in that classroom and in that scenario. And really, inspired me, to keep working hard. And really, that was like a switch in my mind, saying I need to work hard. And eventually, I brought my GPA up, and so that was one of my favorite classes and one of my favorite instructors.
And then from the college level courses?
From the college level.
And you worked toward 2 degrees,
I did.
right?
I did. I had, when I graduated in 2018, I had my Associate of Arts. And then in 2020, I had my Advertising and Graphic Design Associates. So I would say my favorite class would definitely have to be with Josh Gooch. But it was a Photoshop class. So I learned about Adobe Photoshop. And really, it was kind of towards the path that I wanted to go into. So that's why I found it very fun, just to learn how to Photoshop photos and edit photos. So that was a really fun class for me.
I remember you were in the Student Life Center one day working on some historical pictures and doing repair work on some old historical pictures. Was that something you learned in the program?
Yes,
in the
I
graphic
think,
arts
yeah.
program?
Either that was for like Southern Arts and Culture, or was that like a picture that I was trying to recreate and bring back to life in the Photoshop? I don't remember. Mm-hmm. But that
I just remember
fun.
It was fascinating watching you work. And Giselle, your
Yes.
friend Giselle.
My good friend.
Can hardly talk about Monica without mentioning Giselle, because you all were
My
doing
other
so
partner.
many things together.
Yes.
While you were PBL president, she was SGA president, so lots of activities together there. I always hear good things about Miss Ross and how inspirational and encouraging she is to students. And Miss Ross is retiring this year. Hopefully we'll get her back to doing some adjunct work, but she's retiring from full-time this year. And I know the students will miss that influence that she's had on so many.
Oh, for sure.
Well, just thinking back now that you've been out of classes a while and away from the college here for a couple of years, what would you say is the biggest change in your life as a result of coming to Stanley?
Personally, I think it's myself, like my personality has changed a lot, and also my confidence. I think because of Stanley Community College and the classes they offered me, I am who I am today because of it. That's my biggest change overall. Like, I've had opportunity to look into things that I didn't know before, and also people I never would have thought I'd connect with. There's that opportunity there for me as well. So really a lot has changed, but really my opportunity has just really expanded, my network, and my skills too.
I would agree with you. I remember the first time we asked you to do something in PBL, and you were like, no. And then as time went on, it got to the point, it wasn't a matter of asking, it was what can I do now?
Right.
Where can we go? What can I be doing? Mm-hmm. As part of that. Well, obviously, PBL had a big influence on you and the opportunities that you had there. You mentioned serving as our chapter president, but you also served as a state officer.
Yes. Yes.
Do you remember some experiences from that?
Yeah, it was fun. I was a little sad because of COVID, we couldn't go to our spring conference, and I couldn't really, do much there. But the members that I was with and who, serve on the board with me, they were really nice. I've networked with them. Even to today, I'm still am friends with them on social media. And so it was a really good experience. I think I learned a lot on how to operate in a real business world. Yeah, if I was ever to go towards that path.
Well, that is such an opportunity to be part of a decision-making group,
Right.
because that council really runs the state organization, so you get to make the decisions. Now, the flip side of that is there's no paid staff to do the work, so you make a decision to do something, you have to get in the trenches and do it. But again, I think that's such a good experience for students who want to be leaders.
Yes.
And I would think you kind of look back on that and a little surprised that you did that.
Right, I was.
That you did an excellent job. Let's see, that was the year Lindsay
Yes.
Elias from Western Carolina University was state president. A good officer team
Oh, yes.
that year. Well, it wasn't just a matter of local and state opportunities, but you also won some national events, and we made a couple of trips together with some other students. You want to talk about our trip to
Yes.
Baltimore and San Antonio?
It was super, super fun. I think the trip to Baltimore was my first trip without my mom, without my family and everyone. So it was very nerve-wracking, but it was also the most fun and definitely something I treasured the most is in my years at the community college. You know, I get to travel with you, my advisor, and the trip to Baltimore was definitely a long one and funny one, but it's the first thing that comes to my mind when I talk about PBL, you know, how about all the trips that I've taken with, you know, the members and you, and it's just been really, really fun, you know, to meet new people all over the world too, like especially in at the national level, the greatest experience really. Mm-hmm.
And then the next year we did San Antonio.
Yes, San Antonio, we did that.
You went to Baltimore as a member of the parliamentary procedure team.
Yes.
And I remember when we were first getting that team together, you were like, Mr. H, I can't even say the word. How will I ever learn to do this?
Right.
And yet your team, there were 5 of you.
Yes.
You, Samantha Vang, Chani Vang, Giselle.
And Brittany Pouch.
And Brittany Pouch, right.
Yes.
Sure, Brittany. Brittany Tran now.
Oh, yes.
And you all practiced weekly on your performance, studied those parliamentary rules, won first place at the state level, went on to the national, and I remember how professional you looked and taking your picture with the national CEO,
yes.
Ms. Buckley, there at the national conference, and then at the awards program, 6th place in the nation? Yes. And if I remember correctly, I think of the top 10, there were 2 community college teams, and the other 8 were from the universities and 4-year schools. So a real accomplishment for that, especially for at least one of the members who couldn't even say the word when we started. Always funny stories with things like that along the way. Any other special memories from your PBL year, since we're celebrating PBL month?
I think it's really the people who made it special. I don't think I would have had the same experience if it weren't for the members we had that year, like Brittany Pouch, Samantha Vang, Giselle Chavez, my other partner, Shiny Vang as well, and you know, Lyric, Sarah, what's their name again? Their original, Dana Cheney,
right?
Katrina
Cheney,
Sands.
who served as co-advisor
yes. And so I don't think I would have had the same experience if it weren't these people who were going through it at the same time as me. I think because of them, they made my experience more memorable and more heartfelt. And you know, in the future, I can look back and I did these kind of things with these kind of people, and really, they're lifelong friends now. So. I think
and that is so much our goal with our student organizations, to give those students that opportunity to do some extra things that will build the leadership skills, will give them the travel opportunities, or just that really is the goal of our student organizations and why we promote those so much. And of course, PBL, Phi Theta Kappa, Skills USA, I think those 3 are the 3 that have national components, so the opportunities in those 3 groups really are limitless if the students and the advisors work together to reach those goals and get the students there. Have a wonderful picture. I'll try to find it and we can insert it into the interview of you and Brittany and Giselle holding up your plaques. Our marketing person was trying to do a serious picture of you, and you were just so excited about winning those awards that you didn't want to be real serious standing there just holding plaques. Okay, so you graduated, you won one of the Student Leadership Awards the year at one of the medallions as one of our outstanding student leaders. You and Giselle received those the year you graduated, and worked for a while at a couple other jobs before your current job. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing now.
Sure. I currently work as a marketing assistant at the City of Albemarle in the Economic Development Department Center. And also I work closely with Joy Allman, who's the director of the Main Street director of Main Street. So I really just bounce between Keith Tunnell, who's the director of the economic department, and then also Joy Almond. And really, I'm just I'm still learning as I go. So I don't feel like a professional yet, but it's definitely a foot in the door. I'm learning a lot of things, and like the parliamentary procedure that we would have at PBL, I see those every time I'm in a board meeting or I'm in like a committee meetings, and they use those, that parliamentary procedure, system and then just really seeing that come to life. And I would just flash back to PBL and the days that, I would remember these roles and like how it's supposed to go. And I'm like, wow, it just really comes full circle. So yeah, it's nice to see.
And you're working with Ms. Almond, who
Yes.
has been very supportive of our chapter during the year and doing tours of the city. Ms. Cheney working in the HR division now, the city, and doing tours of the offices and telling what different groups there are responsible for and doing. What's your favorite activity that you've done so far with the downtown group?
I think it's most definitely the events, because that's what I'm going to school for. So Joy Almond, who's the director of that, like just planning these events, she has me, working closely with her on those things. So whether it's like the day of the event or, weeks before the events, I'm preparing, something for these events. Like we have the Winter Wine Festival coming up soon. So I'm helping her prepare like everything in the what's it called?
At the market station.
The market station, yes. I'm helping prepare a lot of things at the market station in order to, have a smooth event.
Well, for all of us, every day is a learning experience.
Yeah.
So that's a good philosophy to have, that you're always learning. Mm-hmm. You never get to the point where you know everything. There are always new people to learn new things from and to get different perspectives on. So never be embarrassed to say, I'm still learning. After all my years here, I say that all the time. What surprised you the most when you finished school and went to work full time, and where the work became the priority as opposed to the school? Did anything surprise you about that transition?
I've going through school and everything, you always hear that it's hard to find a job when you graduate. And so when I graduated, that's when it hit me. It's like, oh, it was really hard to find a job when I graduated. And so there was like a good year, of me just applying before I got the job where I'm at now. But really, that was the most surprising to me, because like I was really living those words that were being said to me. It's hard to find a job. It's hard to find a job. And then I was, trying to find a job. It was hard because, not many people were looking for people who just were fresh out of college with no experience. So, yeah, I think that was the most surprising thing that I found.
I was talking with another student, and he said the thing that surprised him the most was he'd gotten so used to being in school with instructors telling him what to do. I always knew what I was supposed to do because the instructor told me what to do. I went to work, and the boss did some of that, but most days I was expected to figure it out myself. Here's what needs to be done and what I need to get busy and get going doing.
I think I'm dealing with that right now too, because when you go to school, you have your teachers or professors always telling you and remind you that you need to do this before this deadline, et cetera, et cetera. And at work now, I have like a timeline where I'm trying to find stuff to do, but at the same time, like I don't know what to do. So really just creating stuff for me to do is hard, because there's no one to tell me like I need to do this and et cetera. So I completely understand what he's going through.
That learning to think ahead.
Yeah, think ahead and
what's coming down the line that I need to go ahead and get started on before somebody tells me I need to do it. Mm-hmm. Well, you used the word professional, and I think earlier I said something about your being a member of the North Carolina Professional Division. That's our terminology for the Alumni Association, although not all the members, and we changed the name so that not all the members of the Professional Division had to be alumni of PBL. So we have a large number of business people and then a large number of you graduates who are in the Professional Division. You, Brittany, Giselle, all three are members of that. How's that been kind of transitioning from being a member competing to a PD member who's working behind the scenes?
Yeah, well, it's nice to, see that there's new students, experiencing this, within their club. But the major thing is definitely not being able to participate in these events, in these competitions, and then, traveling along with, our chapters who, once you graduate, you separate, you go in your own ways and everything. So I think that was a little challenging to see because you're not a student anymore. You're more of like the professional now. So
the support group.
Yeah, the support group.
You're
now.
the support group now. The encouragers of all the new members coming through, the new Monica's and Giselle's and Brittany's coming through. And that's been a little different over the past 2 years because of COVID and our doing online conferences, but we will be in person again this year. So there'll be more opportunities for you professional division members. We bring back a lot of our PD members to serve as judges of events. So after you've been out, I think it's 3 or 4 years after you've been away from your school, you can come back and judge events even.
Okay.
So lots of opportunities for our professional division folks, and we appreciate your continued involvement with that. Stanley Community College celebrating its 50th anniversary. That's really exciting, especially for me, all my years here, and certainly the pleasure of seeing so many students like you come through the college. You were here for Alumni Night.
Yes,
I was. Talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it was fun. I think we saw more of the PBL past students, so that was really nice to see, like, the age demographic of how much PBL has impacted them. It was nice to see you again. It's nice to see all the faculty and staff again. I really turning into the campus, like the big sign, Stanley Community College, like it just brought back so many memories too. So it was really fun. The food was great too. So.
Well, always the food when we traveled. That night we had 2 members of our very first graduating class, Kay Hatley and Gerald Poplin were members of our very first graduating class back in 1974. And then we had Barry Furr, who was SGA president, I believe in 75, maybe somewhere right there in those early years. I think we had 14 former PBL presidents, chapter presidents there, which was really nice. Kathy Allman and Amy Ray and Randy East Roberts now were 3 of the speakers that night, all PBL presidents. So it was a good evening to see a lot of former SGA members, a lot of former PBL members, and other graduates who came for the Alumni Night. Terrible night, if you remember, cold rain, expecting ice and snow over the night, but we still had a good evening at that point. Well, thinking as an alumnus of the college, what's some advice you would give our students now?
I think the most important advice I would give is to really just have an open mind and really is to have an open mind, and also don't take advantage of these clubs, because these clubs will really help, obviously, these clubs will help you in your resume as well, but also, change who you are as a person, your personality. Like, you never really know where you could go if you just open up and, start participating in these classes and having conversation with staff and faculty, and also the club. So I think that's the advice I would give to upcoming students at Stanley, because really Shiny Vane, she's at another community college now, but really she still wished that she was still here, because she had the amazing experience here at Stanley, and really I see that everywhere I go too, with my other peers and everything. Like, Stanley was a really good school with, good staff and just a good experience. So that's my advice to upcoming students, is just be open-minded and, try everything. Don't be timid. Yes.
And look who's saying that. The person who used to be so timid.
Yeah.
Well, And you're doing classes now, did you tell me, at Johnson & Wales,
Yes.
is that right?
I am a sophomore at Johnson & Wales University. I'm doing online classes, so everything's online. My major is sports and entertainment event management. So, yeah, wish me luck.
Wow, it sounds exciting. Sounds
It
exciting.
is.
You can get us some tickets to some special events.
Hopefully.
Well, again, congratulations on the award. Each community college selects one of its students, well, one of its graduates, for the Dallas Herring Award. And then those 58 individuals are considered for the state award. And we're just really honored and pleased for you as a student, certainly as a PBL member. We appreciate your continued involvement in the college and your encouragement of other students here, because I know you still have a lot of contacts with students who are here. Yes. And certainly as we celebrate PBL month, your continued involvement in PBL. We've presented this once, but somebody else got to hand it to you that time, so I want the pleasure of actually handing you your award.
Yay. Thank you.
I think you have a wall of awards that you won while you were here, but
yes.
This one's a special one because it does emphasize that, well, that progress. And in saying that, you know, I never mean to belittle anything about where you were to start with. You understand that.
Yeah.
It's just always such a pleasure to see a student really come alive and take advantage. And I remember you saying one time when you came off stage having won an award, saying, "Oh, Mr. H, I just can't believe that was me up there."
Right, yeah.
And, you know, I don't think there's anything that an instructor, an employee of the college likes hearing better than, you know.
I don't even remember going on stage, to be honest.
I'm almost
But I remember the nerves before going on stage and how my legs were shaking and how I would practice my speech with the other members, and I'd be like, am I doing okay? And then
that support group.
Yes.
Which is probably one of the most important things that the student organizations bring to a student on an individual basis. That group of people that you get a little closer to than just being in class with them. And those people can become your support group during good times and difficult times when you just need somebody to kind of help you through, push you through, give you advice, that kind of thing. Well, again, thank you for all you've done. Congratulations on the award. And on behalf of Stanley Community College, we're so proud of you. Keep sending us good students like you that we can work with, and
thank you.
Maybe 50 years from now, I'm sure there'll be another Monica sitting right there in that chair.
I hope so.
Talking about good things the college has done for it. So congratulations to you. Happy 50th anniversary to Stanley Community College.
Yes.
And happy PBL month to
Happy
Phi Beta
PBL
Lambda.
month. Yes.
Thank you,
Thank
Monica.
you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching Stanley SOAR, our student organization and activities recognition show. Please tune to this channel again for future shows as we highlight the many different student organizations and their impact here on our campus and throughout our community.